Hey, welcome back to Local Static. I'm Payton Cavanaugh, and today I'm joined by local rapper Kobe the Ladder. We're really excited for you to be here. Thank you so much for taking a moment to talk to us today. So first, we were just talking about a little bit more about your sound here off camera, but if you could introduce your sound to the audience, people who might not have heard your music before.
Yeah, so I'd like to describe my sound as like gritty, like raw hip hop. Like a low fidelity type of sound. Yeah, I think that's the best way to describe it. Very East Coast, but it does have influences from all over the world into it.
Yeah, definitely. And if you want to talk a little bit about what first got you interested in music, maybe you have like a first memory of being interested in writing your own music or music you liked as a kid.
I remember my father played a lot of music in the household. Same with my mother, but my father really, like, if there wasn't music going on at my dad's house, then there's probably something wrong. But I think my earliest memory of, like, looking at a star and thinking, like, that's what I want to do was it was Michael Jackson, and I was watching it. It was a documentary, I believe, and he was kind of like, he was in this antique shop. And it was like, my mom always kind of like instilled into me that I deserve the world. And so I remember seeing him in that antique shop, and he was just kind of like pointing at whatever he wanted. Like, this is $10,000, this is $50,000. He was just like, put it in my cart, and they just gave him like kind of whatever he wanted. So it was like, I guess seeing that, I was like, this is something that could really take care of my family for generations. I think that's probably the earliest memory I have of wanting to be some sort of musical star, for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And it's interesting too to hear like your influences from like Michael Jackson specifically. Even just thinking about his performance and stage presence is really interesting. Do you have is there any other elements of either his artistry or maybe other artists that you draw inspiration from?
Oh man, so many. Yeah, definitely him. I'd say Green Day. J. Cole, Mac Miller's a really big one. Probably the biggest inspiration for me in terms of like my writing and the way I go about like attacking my music is definitely Mac. So R.I.P. to the great. Kendrick. Of course, my father always was like so big on Tupac. Like if he noticed that I wasn't listening to the Tupac song that was on, he would like tap me on my shoulder and be like, "Did you hear what he just said? Like listen, like really pay attention to that, because that was some stuff. Like you need to absorb that." So yeah, Tupac, Lil Wayne, 50 Cent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Long list for sure,
It's
but
too many.
the greats.
I could go on forever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And it's really interesting too when artists are able to draw inspiration from just so many different artists and about whether or not it's about their stage presence or it's about their musicality or just the person that they were and what they did with their music. So it's interesting to see that you're drawing inspiration from so many different places. And I think that's reflected too in your music as well.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. If you could share just a little bit about the people as well that have helped you along the way. I know you mentioned your family being really invested in music, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, first and foremost, I gotta give glory to, the man above, the man at the top of the ladder, the universe, Buddha, whatever you believe in, it don't matter. But without him, any inspiration or any person in my life would not be here. So, first and foremost him. But my mother, as I said, she had me when she was only 19 years old. So just seeing how strong she was and how she was able to make that happen. Like, I'm 24, about 24, turning 24 now, and just imagining like my mother had a 5-year-old kid at that point. It's just no matter what it is in my life, I'll always go as hard as I can because of that. In terms of other people, I mean, my girlfriend is huge, soon to be wife for sure. she's just always had my back. She's one of the very few people that have seen me cry, you know. Not many people see that. But you know, I got, as far as like people that I collaborate with, I got my brothers from Blind Empathy, my brother JoJo Supreme and Chaotic Essence, Jake Matthews. He's been a very, you know, just a calming presence that I can go to. We could just make music in the studio, and it doesn't have to, there's no pressure, you know?
Yeah, definitely. It sounds like you have
Yeah.
a really strong support system that's helped you along the way, which is huge. And especially strong moms. Shout out to strong moms. That's
Shout
great.
out mama, for sure. What's up? Hey, mama, I'm on TV.
Have to get that shout out in there. So kind of moving into your music, you are going to perform a verse for our audience here in a minute. If you could talk to us about that verse, thematically, the inspirations, and wherever you want to take it.
Yeah, so the song Big Delusional K is essentially, in the hook, it's like a chant, sort of, where I'm saying, like, everyone say my name, Big K is the ladder, whatever, and, like, I don't exactly have, like, an audience, per se, so, like, it's kind of, like, the intention of it was to be sort of a delusional chant, where it's, like, oh, who is this guy? Why is he saying to say his name? And, so I think that's the intention of the verse, was just to kind of be, like, well, no matter, like, where I'm at now, like, I know, like, the way I live and where I'm going, and I'm gonna grow accustomed to it. And, you know, in the verse, I say, I stand before sacrifice like the Last Supper, and I believe that, like, all the time that I have put into this delusion, you know, like, a lot of the greats say, like, you need to be delusional to ever make it. So I see that as a sacrifice, just as me and you are sacrificing our time to be here to put towards our dreams. Yeah, just as the cow that I ate last night in my cheeseburger was sacrificed. You know, everything. We're always standing before a sacrifice. So, yeah, I guess my delusion is that sacrifice, and that's, I think, what that song means to me.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, we'll make sure to head on over to that. So here is that verse.
So the first one I'm going to do is the first verse from my song, Big Delusional K, which is currently out on all platforms. So, yeah. Just take a few breaths. All right. Yeah. Grow accustomed to a fast living, flash running, push the gas, dash lifting off the clock, 100. Get my watch piece, mad honey, a little paddock, Philippe that tell him that kid had money. Stand before sacrifice like the Last Supper, against the world, I'm a riot, let him blast rubber. Pass puff to my man and he coughing, that's us when you see a flying saucer. Yeah, I stay lit like the pilot, I'm telling y'all, this boss work, you should try it. I don't surf, make my own wave, then I ride it. And then I did them so dirty while I praised the highest. You better get to switching lanes, get it clipped like a bang. If you say that he the hair, then it's off with your brain. Stick him in the flames, then we dip him with the pay. Let me hear the whole place say my name, and it go like, Big K is the lad, all you suckers. Yeah, it's KTL.
Well, we're back. Thank you so much again for tuning into Local Static today. Again, we are here joined by Kobe the Ladder, upstate rapper. So just jumping right back into our conversation where we left off, I would love to know what your favorite part about recording and writing in this genre specifically is.
I think it's the fact that doesn't have to have like a set structure, or like when it comes to hip hop, it's kind of just like a mashup of so much stuff. So it's like that's why I'm able to pull inspiration from rock and roll and from pop artists and from soul R&B, is because it's a combination of everything. And it's so enjoyable to write, because in hip hop I feel like you can write about, really in music in general, but especially hip hop, like you can write about anything and make a good song with it. So yeah, I'd say most importantly the structure and the attitude, the swagger, you know what I'm saying? It's like it's just different than a lot of things out there, and it's still such a new genre, to where it's just every day you see it's evolving and evolving and going to places that no one ever imagined. And like yeah, it's just there, you can't really, I mean, maybe the drums, but like there's not exactly an instrument or something like that that you could give me and say like that defines hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Like with like rock and roll, you have like electric guitar. Like, you know, if you're thinking about rock and roll, you're probably thinking about like guitars and, you know, stuff like that. But like hip hop, it's like you can have an electric guitar in there. You can have an electric guitar and anything. Like it, you can make it work. So I think it's just just the versatility of it.
Yeah, definitely. It sounds like too. You can be really creative, and it is interesting the perspective of just certain genres, not necessarily being defined, but having defining factors. Whereas this is kind of more fluid and more expressive. If you could talk about what you want people to feel or potentially understand when they're listening to your music. I know that obviously that too is all about perspective, but if there's anything, I guess, thematically that you think people should be picking up on?
I want people to feel empowered. I want people to feel like they don't identify with their thoughts. You know, I want to bring like happiness to it, and I want you to bop your head. But at the end of the day, like it's more about what I'm saying to me. So like, I want people to ponder when they listen to my music. Most importantly, just really find connections in their brain that they maybe didn't know were there before.
Yeah. And kind of jumping gears to a separate topic here too, but still similar. I'm wondering what it has been like for you coming up as a smaller local artist in the area, kind of, you know, making a name for yourself with your music, and trying to get your music out there.
You know, honestly, it's kind of funny. This is really my first time being like, hey, hello world, I'm Kobe the Ladder and I make music. It's been such like I said before we started, like my studio is so like sacred to me. And I've spent so much time like confined in the four padded walls of that room. You know, I haven't really poked my head out much, but you know, that's a big reason why I wanted to do this so bad, is because I feel like I'm at a point where I've put enough work in that I trust, to where I'm comfortable coming out and saying like, I am the artist, Kobe the Ladder, like that. This is who I am. It's not just what I do. It's who I am now. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And we're grateful to have you here to hear more about
I'm so grateful
what brought
to be
you
here.
to be here. Yeah. I know that we have a second verse to share with the audience. If you wanted to talk about that verse, and then we'll send us over there.
All right. Yeah. So the next verse is from my song "Take Me Instead." It's the first verse from "Take Me Instead." It is basically a song that is about, you know, just repetitive memories that kind of hold you to the same place, and just trying to let go of those memories. I think just like a if a memory were a broken record player with a scratched vinyl record on it, is kind of like the premise of the song.
Well, without further ado, we'll head over there.
Uh, yeah, hard feelings as I'm flipping through this picture book. I see the things in your eyes that I might have overlooked. I wish I noticed it then, but the moment overtook. And I wouldn't describe us as fully open books. Nothing worse than recapping on how much time it took. It's such a broken rhyme. I listen every night. We were side to side, but it was like we were still living with a different page in sight. Now this divine timing, I'm in the line driving. Wonder why I do this and if I'ma die trying. If I'ma die trying, at least I died flying, and at least my people know that I died smiling. There's something touching me lately that's trying to come out. It's in the walls and it follows me when I go round. Gotta go and play pretend with a ghost and a mouse. Man, the cat's so lonely. Welcome to my cold house. Yeah, that is the first verse from my song Take Me Instead, which will come out in the summertime.
Welcome back to Local Static. Thank you so much for being here. Again, we are joined by local upstate rapper Colby the Ladder. Thank you so much for being here, talking to us about what brought you to write your own music, just kind of your upbringing within music. If you could, just talk to us about your heaviest influences in your life a bit more. We talked about the people that have been there for you, and we talked about the artists that have inspired you. But outside of that, who inspires you to continue to follow your dream of making music?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously my family. A big, like, kind of like, I guess a virtual mentor, you could say, is Jim Rohn. A lot of his teachings have just put my mind in directions that I didn't know would go. Jim Rohn, there's a YouTube channel called Purpose Driven. Malik Lewis is his name. He's very inspiring to me. Oh man, there's so many. Shout out, and I didn't say this with people that I collaborate with. My friend my friend Darian, he has showed me like amazing things. Like he showed me this book, The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. That book really like just applying that to my life has really done a lot for me. He's just showed me a lot. Those are like the best friends to have that just like they just show you things that evolve your life.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And if you wanted to talk a little bit more about, I know you're going to perform another verse here in a minute. If you wanted to share more about that, and specifically, too, if you want to dive into what it's like when you write these verses, when you're writing out the lyrics specifically, what inspires you? Where do you pull your inspiration from when it comes to that?
So my writing process is very much... I try to just be a vessel for the light of God's glory and just let my heart be a refraction point for that. So a great friend of mine, Darian, actually, who I was just speaking of, actually said to me once, art reflects life, reflects art. So it's like, it's a never-ending just refraction of each other. And, I pull a lot of, like, the concepts that I write about from reading and just, like it could be something like as simple as like I'll hear somebody walk by and say a phrase that I've never heard before. And that will like, that'll just inspire me and I'll write it down in my journal or whatever. And it just turns into a whole song. With this, with the song, the verse that I'm about to perform, One More Left, it was a little bit different because usually like I said, I'll have a phrase or a concept that I pull from the world and just write about it. But with this this whole tape, it was really different for me because I always take my time, but this tape was like, I was in the studio for just like 2 days straight, just banging out like song after song, and it just was coming so naturally. So it was like it's a mix of, you know, freestyling, just like mumbling cadences and seeing like where the song will go. Yeah, so I made this whole tape, and just it was just a 2 day, like, I guess I have a very like addictive personality, especially when it comes to like escaping reality. Oh, that rhymed. Hold on. No, but yeah, so I guess just locking myself in the studio for 2 days was what brought this tape to life. And the song that I'm about to perform was, it's funny, the song is called One More Left. And like, I just remembered it was probably like 2 in the morning on the second day that I was just in the studio straight. And I was just like sitting over my desk with this beat playing. And I just kept saying to myself, like, I was so exhausted, just creatively beaten. And I just kept like saying in my head and out loud, I got one more left, I've got one more left, I've got one more left, I've got one more left. And that became the hook. And from there, it's weird. Usually like the hook is not the first thing that comes to me typically. But for this one, it was the hook. Immediately the hook came to me, and I just started saying that over the beat, and then it just went. In the verse, I say, I've been caged so long I envy elephants. I've been caged so long I envied pet birds. And that was kind of, writing that was kind of like, it felt like a lyric that was written outside of the four walls that I feel like I've been confined in for so long. So something about, yeah, that verse was really special for me.
Yeah, it seems like too with your music, not only are you, you know, kind of, it's a mindset to be in there, to be completely giving yourself to your creative process and being, really within that and in tune with that. But also, it sounds like it's a place where you can almost process things that you haven't even thought of, like feelings and ideas that you haven't thought of. It's really interesting. I feel like kind of across the board with artists that I've talked to recently, their music has been a channel for their thoughts and feelings and helping with processing all of that. So it's really interesting to hear that you had some of those experiences as well.
I've been caged so long I envy elephants. I've been caged so long I envy pet birds. Seen rage so much I turned delicate. I don't want to see nobody here getting hurt, but the wall's getting closer, I gotta break loose. Feel like I'm waiting on virtuosos and angels. Like I can't see the sun from this angle, but till a maestro come, I'm dust, but I stay tuned. Work the rust off. And that is the second verse off of my song, One More Left, which will come out in September.
Well, thank you so much again for performing all of these verses for us today, taking time out of your day to talk to us, share more about your artistry with our audience. But before we, close today, we definitely want to talk about future projects on the horizon, things people should be looking out for, where they can find those projects.
Yeah, so Act 1 of the tape that I was talking about is actually releasing at midnight tonight, February 13th. This won't be, this isn't live. So.
Unfortunately. So you could say, if you restart that, you could just say it was released, my most recent project was released on, and then if you have other releases coming up after, like Monday.
Okay, copy. You want me to start now?
Yeah, whenever.
Okay, so, so my most recent release happened at 12 a.m., February 13th. It is Act 1 of this tape that I've been talking about. So I'm releasing it in 3 different acts. So the first act is 3 lonely recitals. It's 3 songs, and it's 3 songs, a narration, and a skit. It's very theatrical to me, so that's why it's coming out in different acts. And I think it's unique. With humility, I say it's very unique to me, and I always try to do something different. And then music videos, man. Go watch my music video that I dropped back in October. I'll have a music video coming out in the summer along with the second act of this tape. And then in September as well, I will have 2 music videos coming out within that couple months span after September. And the third act of my tape in September. Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you so much for sharing more about those releases. Make sure to check out those projects and upcoming releases. Cool. Definitely, people will have to tune in. Is there any shows or anything that people should be aware of as well?
Venues, reach out, man. I don't have any shows booked. I've never even done a live performance. So.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, no, it's crazy, right?
Yeah, so we'll definitely, if anybody's interested.
Yeah.
For sure. All right.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, thank you so much again for taking a moment to talk to us today. I really appreciate you sharing more of your artistry, more of your musical journey. It was a pleasure to have you here on Local Static.
It was a blessing.
Thank you. And thank you so much for tuning in this week. Make sure to tune in next week for more artist features.